Hello students, this is Dr. Faizan Mirza. We are continuing our discussion of body fluid compartments. We discussed the major proportion of the total body water resides in ICF and a minor in ECF, and the ECF is having interstitial fluid and plasma as its further components, where interstitial fluid is a larger fraction of ECF and plasma is the smaller fraction, 1/4 and 3/4, as discussed earlier. So let's suppose if we are to calculate the amount of body water or the total volume of body water and the respective percentages present in each compartments in a 70 kg adult. So total body water of a 70 kg adult would be 0.6 multiplied by the body weight in kgs. So this comes out to be 42 liters. Using the value of 42 liter, we can calculate the volumes of ECF, ICF, interstitial fluid and plasma respectively, one after the other. So ICF is 2/3 of the total body water. So this can be 2/3 of 42 liter, which is 28 liter. ECF can be calculated as 1/3 of that 42 liter. So if you multiply 1/3 with 42 liter, it comes out to be 14 liter. We know that ECF is further divided into interstitial fluid and plasma. So using the value of this 14 liter, we can calculate how much of water is in their IF and the plasma. So 3/4 of ECF is your interstitial fluid, so 14 liters multiplied by 3/4 gives you 10.5 liter in the interstitial fluid, and plasma is 1/4 of ECF, so this is 1/4 of ECF multiplied by 14. 14 liter was the volume of ECF, so the water in ECF actually. So 3.5 liter. So these are the values which actually tell you that for a 70 kg adult, 42 liter of the body will be water, and out of those 42 liter, 28 liter will be present in the ICF and 14 liter will be present in the ECF of that individual, whereas 10.5 liter of the ECF will be in the interstitial fluid in the tissue spaces, and 3.5 liter, which is from this 14 liter, will be present in the blood vessels or the plasma of that individual. The major cations and anions of the ECF and ICF include sodium, which is the major cation of ECF, whereas the major anion is chloride and bicarbonate. When we go out into from the ECF and we move into the intracellular fluid, we see that the major cations are calcium, magnesium and potassium, whereas the major anions are phosphates, organic anions and proteins. You know, proteins are generally carrying a net negative charge. Most of the amino acids in our proteins have a negative charge, and the phosphates are present as inorganic phosphate in the breakdown of ATP and this GTP as well. And the DNA is an RNA also have the sugar phosphate backbones. So they also have these organic anions and phosphates, and proteins, they all have a negative charge. So they are present inside the cells. The next that I want to discuss is how the fluids get exchanged, how the plasma leaks out to form tissue fluid in the tissue spaces. So this is the red blood cells and the plasma, and these are the endothelial cells of the capillary. The white blood cell is also present inside the capillary. These are the cells of the tissue which I am drawing here, and this is entirely present in the tissue space. So the blood plasma which is present in the capillary, it can leak out to form the tissue fluid which comes into the tissue space. So this capillary here, this is the end which is coming from the arteriole, and the capillary blood is going ahead into the venule. So this shows to you the direction. The RBCs are following one another, so this is a single file flow. So when the blood is flowing in the capillary, it is at a considerable pressure, so the blood plasma starts to leak out, and the leaked plasma accumulate as tissue fluid into the tissue space. This is called as interstitial fluid as well, and this fluid brings about all the exchanges from the tissue space. The high hydrostatic pressure is the one which is responsible for this plasma leaking out from the endothelial cells into the tissue space. The blood which is left behind in the capillary will have a high osmotic pressure, which is because of the presence of the large proteins that did not go out. So these large proteins are already there in the blood plasma here. They will have the ability to pull the water molecules back towards themselves. So the high osmotic pressure present in this region of the capillary cause the tissue fluid to be reabsorbed back. So along a capillary, the fluid exchange is occurring. At the arteriole end, there is a high hydrostatic pressure occurring here, which promotes the formation of the tissue fluid. At the venule end, there is a high osmotic pressure or a high oncotic pressure existing inside the capillary, which cause the tissue fluid to be reabsorbed back into the capillary. So this sums up about fluid exchange. That's it from my side. Thank you so much.